They didn't whisper behind her back. They said it loud enough for her to hear. The recruits in the naval training hall stared at the young woman with the faded military duffel bag, but their eyes weren't on her uniform, her posture, or even her face. They were fixed on the strange mark on the side of her neck. Dark ink in the shape of a symbol none of them recognized. "What the hell is that supposed to be?" one cadet muttered. Another laughed. "Probably some wannabe gangster tattoo." But she didn't flinch. She simply tightened her jaw, set her bag down, and kept walking, as if every grain of humiliation had already been spent somewhere long ago. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Her name was Liana Hayes, and she had joined the Navy for reasons no one here knew. Not to prove herself, not for glory, but because of a promise she made to someone she thought she would never see again. The mocking only got louder during drills. "Neck girl," they called her. "Show us your gangster ink." A few of them even tried to pull her collar aside to get a better look, until one sharp glare froze them mid-motion. There was nothing violent in that stare, just a sadness deep enough to drown in. Still, she said nothing, not a word in her defense. That was what confused them most. It wasn't until inspection day that everything changed. The air felt heavier than usual, dress whites perfectly pressed, boots polished, lined up in silence. But everyone waited for the moment she would be forced to stand in front of the highest-ranking officer on base, Admiral Thorne, a man who didn't forgive sloppy uniforms, disrespect, or anything that smelled like weakness. He walked the line slowly, eyes sharp as steel, stopping now and then to correct posture or discipline. The closer he got to Liana, the more the cadets smirked, ready for her humiliation. Then it happened. He reached her, looked at her boots, her ribbons, her posture. Then he saw the tattoo, and the room stopped. The Admiral didn't scoff, didn't lecture, didn't mock her like the others. Instead, his voice, usually cold as iron, dropped to almost a whisper. "Where did you get that mark?" Every cadet who had laughed at her suddenly felt the air shift. Liana met his gaze, steady, but her voice shook. "Sir, I was given this symbol by Lieutenant Marcus Thorne 5 years ago, before he was declared missing in action." Marcus Thorne, the Admiral's son. The silence turned electric. He swallowed hard, the sternness in his expression cracking for the first time anyone could remember. His eyes glistened, not with anger, but recognition, memory, pain. No one in that room had known the truth, that the mark on her neck was not a tattoo, but a coded symbol used by an elite extraction unit, a unit that saved soldiers who were never meant to survive. She had been the last civilian pulled from a collapsed shelter during a covert rescue. The lieutenant had dragged her through fire, shrapnel, and darkness, then placed that symbol on her neck with his own pen. "If anyone gives you trouble for this," he said back then, "tell them it means you're alive because someone refused to leave you behind." But she never got the chance to tell anyone, because a week later, he went missing, presumed dead. Until now. Admiral Thorne's hand trembled as he stepped back, not because he pitied her, but because he finally understood why she was here. She hadn't joined to wear the uniform. She joined to honor the man who believed her life was worth saving. And suddenly, every cadet saw what they had been too small, too proud, too blind to see. The scar they mocked was a story of survival and loyalty, greater than any of them had lived. It wasn't the Admiral who spoke next. It was the very cadet who laughed at her first. "Ma'am," he murmured, voice breaking, We were wrong." That day, respect didn't arrive with applause. It arrived with silence, the kind that only comes when shame turns into understanding. And for the first time, Liana allowed herself to breathe. Because sometimes the marks the world judges hardest are the ones paid for in blood, sacrifice, and love. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And the same symbol they once mocked became the very thing they wished they had earned. If this story made you feel something, share your thoughts below and make sure you're subscribed. Because every week, we tell true stories of courage that deserve to be remembered, not forgotten.